What would you say is the most valuable thing that people could learn from you?
Mm, big question.
Huge question.
The most valuable thing that people could learn from me.
Or that you could teach people.
Probably outgoingness.
Mm.
Might be a corny answer.
No, I think that's true. Like that's definitely something that is that stands out about you. Is I think you have no problem talking to anybody.
Right.
And I have a feeling that a lot of where you are in your life, not that you haven't worked hard, but a lot of the benefits that you've had from, I guess, other people's knowledge or experience,
Yeah,
you would have only had by having those conversations, right?
exactly. And there's this thing my mom says a lot. Her side of the family specifically, her and her three brothers, two of them she's still very close with, they call themselves the 5 minute friends. Like you drop them in front of literally anybody else in the world and they will become friends with them within 5 minutes or less. And it's a fact. I've seen it happen multiple times, and every time it happens, I'm just like, that is me. Like I 100% got that from my mom and her side of the family, her two brothers. Um, and they're very outgoing about it, and they make it feel and seem so organic
Yeah.
to the point where the person who, because I've been on both ends of the spectrum, right? Like I've been the kid that's not included, or I've been the kid that, people might think he's weird or whatever, right? So I've been on both ends, and the way that she goes about it, I haven't mastered this part yet,
Mm.
but if she were to go up to somebody who she might think isn't feeling included, right? So like, let's say you got a
Yeah.
group of 10 people playing pickleball, one of them sitting in the corner, kind of just like, oh, like, they're not really inviting me over there.
Yeah.
My mom will get that person to join that group and be friends with all 9 other people within 5 minutes, and she will
Yeah.
make it the most organic experience of their life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just watching that happen, nobody taught me that. Just watching it happen so often throughout the years of my adolescence, and just even, to this date, it's just watching it happen is just instilled into me, like, okay, like
Yeah.
I can be a better person. Like I can include people if they're not feeling included, or
Yeah, and I admire that a lot. Like, I think that a lot of times it does come from a place of having experienced that yourself,
right.
not or having been left out. Do you feel at this point in your life that you are capable of, like your mom, almost being friends with anybody?
Almost anybody, yeah, I would think so. There are still maybe some not prejudices, like some demographics that I might not want to be friends with. Like if you were to put
Who
me in
are
a
the
room with like a
exceptions?
bunch
Yeah.
of inmates who are like murderers,
Oh,
I
fair.
might not have
What
the
what are what
most
are the real world
easy
exceptions?
time.
Like you're never going to be in that situation. I hope. I hope not.
I don't think there are any real world exceptions then,
Yeah.
because I genuinely do believe like humans to me are so interesting, because everybody was placed here by some odd stroke of luck,
Yeah.
right? Um, but every single individual person has a different upbringing. They have different stories. They have different experiences. They have different taste buds. Like not everything tastes the same to each person. And
Cilantro.
right, it is a perfect example. But like things like that are so interesting to me to a degree of like I want to know that about other people. I'm a very curious human being.
Yeah.
In a sense that like if I see something on the TV from like a TV show, right? I'm like Googling it immediately. Like, well, why is that short haircut called a bob? Like what, things like that. So like I'm very curious in nature. And I think that helps me with being outgoing with people.
Yeah.
Because I constantly ask why, which might be very annoying to some people. Like people who are a lot more introverted
Mm.
might have a hard time having a conversation with me because I will pry the information out of them.
No, I think that's great. That's a good point. That curiosity is probably a lot healthier than a lot of people probably go about that differently, where they notice something about another person or
Mm,
whatever the thing might be, and the fact that it's different than how they are or would have done things, it like bothers them. That's
yeah.
that's like the immediate response, like, oh, that bothers me. But you don't even know why it's like that,
Yeah. So I
right?
have to ask.
Yeah.
And I do every time.
And I think that's way better though, to be genuinely curious. And in some sense, I'm almost okay with it. If you're genuinely curious and you learn like the why and you're like, okay, that's dumb. I actually don't like that. That's fine then, right?
Yeah.
But it's like at the very least, figure out why first. I like
Yeah.
that.
It's keeping an open mind. I do think that would probably be the biggest thing people can learn from me is
Yeah.
approaching everything in your life with an open mind. It's okay to have your own opinions and stand your ground on certain topics, but at least being able to hear the other person out who might feel differently than you,
Yeah.
huge crucial point in life. Like you have to have that open minded. Well, you don't have to, but
Do you have any do you have any people in your life that you don't? I was gonna say, do you have any people in your life that you don't get along with? That's probably a terrible question. Better question would be like,
have
do
a
you
lot of
have
differences.
well, do you have like recent memories of like times when like you didn't get along with somebody despite like
Mm.
you being the way you are?
Mhm.
I don't imagine there's many of those experiences. Not now, anyway.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily know whether or not like the other party feels a certain way. Like maybe they're just smiling and like, yeah, sure. And like in their head, they're like, can you shut up so I can go about my day?
Christine knows that.
So yeah, right. So it's like maybe they're just doing that to me. Maybe that's just imposter syndrome.
Uh,
Um, I like to think that I'm a person that people would be proud to say they surround themselves with.
mm,
In college, that it's one of those things where when you got a group of guys that all have the same goal, like being on a cross country team,
yeah.
you're all shooting for the same objective here, right?
Mhm.
You kind of surround yourselves with those people for your regular lifestyle things too,
Yeah.
right? They just become your friends, right? Um, a lot of the times, I like to poke fun. Like I love not making fun of people, but like just friendly banter,
Yeah.
right? I love that. I grew up on that. I thrive on it. And I'm 100% okay with also being on the receiving end of it, like
course,
being
yeah.
the punching bag. If somebody needs that outlet in a friend group, I'm more than happy to be that punching bag,
Yeah.
right? So again, there are also times like that where like I don't necessarily know where the line is for some people. Like maybe they're having a really
That's
bad
tricky.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they come home from their class and they have this persona on of like, okay, I'm going to be the same Derek Doctor that I've been for the past month, even though I just had a really crappy first 5 hours of my day.
Yeah.
And then they walk through that door and, I'm their roommate and I immediately crack a joke on the way, like maybe it's something about their shoes or like the way their hair is that day. And I
Yeah.
crack a joke on that the second they walk through. Maybe
Yeah.
in their head, they're like, dude, like, I hate you. But I wouldn't know,
Yeah.
And it's like there were times where I definitely did cross a line, but they would make it known,
Yeah.
and I would tell them like, hey, like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't aware of, how things were building up for you.
Yeah.
Times like that, it's self-reflect. It's kind of just like, all right, like maybe that was kind of crappy of me to
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
That's tough though, because you can't know what's going on in somebody else's head.
You never know. It's literally impossible to.
Yeah.
Like sitting here right now, you literally could just be thinking, all right, let's finish the rest of this as fast as we can so I can get this guy out of my, so it's things like that. I would,
time's up.
yeah, but I would never know. I have zero way of knowing what you're thinking about, and even like how your morning went, like, I have no idea. I didn't ask you how
Yeah,
it went from when you woke up to the second I showed up. Like
That's true. But in my case, I would just tell you.
Right.
I think you know me well enough that
Yeah.
I would just tell you.
But
if
in
something-
the context of like introverted people,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
you don't know, so it's hard for me to definitively say whether or not I've had experiences where I don't get along with people. There are people in my life that I have a lot of differences in opinions with.
Yeah.
And I navigate those waters just fine.
Sure.
There are instances where you do have to remain a little more conserved with your opinion when you're talking to somebody who is very, very passionate about their opinion on the matter and their boots are in the ground and they
Like
do
what?
not want to move. Not any like one specific topic in general,
Yeah. Okay.
but just like, there are a lot of topics in life, specifically like political matters are usually a
Thanksgiving dinner.
big one.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
kidding. That doesn't
dude.
happen to me. But
Yeah, you want to start you want to start a family feud, all you have to do is mention politics at Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Because I guarantee you every family is divided to some degree, whether it's just one person in the family or, half and half, whatever it may be, right? Some are on one side of the fence, some are on the other. People form their own opinions throughout the course of their lives.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works, but trying to navigate those is a little difficult because you never truly know how passionate somebody is about one specific topic.
Yeah.
Like how do you know that somebody hasn't devoted their entirety of their life to not having plastic straws, right? So it's like if I come in and tell that person like, hey, you're an idiot, like, which is, yeah, it might be what I think.
That's a hill I might die on. Paper straws are dumb.
I 100% agree. But in the same sense, like,
I had a friend recently. We were grabbing coffee and we we were at a place that only gave paper straws. He's like, "Can I have 5?"
Oh boy. Yeah, no, but it's one of those things, right, where people who are advocating for that, you don't necessarily know how strongly they feel about it,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So it's like if somebody were to come and tell you like, "Oh yeah, man, like, hey, just to let you know, you're not allowed to use a plastic straw for the rest of your life." It's not like you would start crying, or like have some huge. You probably just wouldn't use straws anymore,
Yeah.
or like a metal one as an alternative.
I'd start a business manufacturing, like, stainless steel straws probably.
Yeah, no, exactly. So you'd find a workaround, right? But when you come to some of these people that are willing to, like, literally willing to die on that hill, like that is
Yeah.
their life
Yeah.
within that opinion that they have, it's probably in my best interest not to start a discussion,
Yeah.
on
There are
the
so many
opposite side
things
of their opinion.
where, like, when people care so much about it, whatever it is, I've realized I don't care enough about most things
Yeah.
to, like, argue with somebody.
And I admire that in a lot of people. That
Yeah.
means they're just extremely passionate about whatever specific topic it is.
Yeah.
So long as it's not impacting my life or my close, family, friends, as long as it's not impacting that inner circle to like a negligible degree, then I have no issue with somebody being passionate about something that I might not agree with on an opinion base.
Yeah.
But big difference in statistics and opinions. So,
What would you say is the hardest thing you've ever done?
the hardest thing I've ever done, mentally or physically,
Give me
both.
both, yeah.
Um, I think it was my freshman year of college. New surroundings and everything, right?
Yeah.
You get thrown into a world
Where did you go?
where Stanislaus. So
Okay.
it's just 90 minutes from here, and I'm acting like it's
Yeah.
halfway across the
Whatever.
states.
I mean, you moved, right?
Yeah. No, everything you were used to literally just gets taken from you, right?
Mhm.
So your entire life norm, whether it was a good life or a bad life, is now changed. Whether it's for the better or worse, who can really say?
Yeah.
So your entire life gets turned upside down immediately when you leave for college, right? So I'm there living with 3 people that I have literally never met before in my entire, 2 people that I have literally never met before in my entire life. And I'm now supposed to just get along and live with these people and,
Yeah.
share a kitchen and little things like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm drawing this out, but I just have to build it up. There's like little aspects like that, right? And then I'm now also competing at a collegiate level in cross country.
Yeah.
And that was like nothing I had ever done before. I'm talking,
It's a different level.
yeah,
right?
I was considered a low mileage guy, and I was averaging about 60, 70 miles a week.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people hear that number and they're like, oh my gosh, like, that's a lot of miles. That's average of 10 a day if you're doing 70 a week, right? I had guys on my team that were running 110, 120 miles a week.
Yeah.
So they're doing literally double what I'm doing. And it's like, I admired the crap out of those guys. Some of those guys are insane, right? And a majority of them were higher mileage because they were a lot skinnier. So their genetics played a bigger role into the amount of mileage that they were able to handle.
Yeah.
Whereas with me, I was a little more broad. I was a little heavier set. So I had a lot of problem with my feet whenever I would up my mileage. So trying to navigate, actually training from high school training, it's very big difference. So I was trying to navigate the 2 of those things together. And then very early in that year, during one of my training runs, I got a call that one of my closest cousin had committed suicide.
Oh, man.
So that was getting thrown on top of all these pre-existing things that I had going on, trying to navigate these waters and figure out, all right, like who am I when it comes to a collegiate student athlete? Who do I want to be as a collegiate student athlete? And then also like as a person, because now I'm being susceptible to all of these feelings of loss, right? Whereas when you're growing up, if you're fortunate enough to have both parents throughout, tired of your childhood, you don't really face the experience of loss very early in life. Usually, I would say that more
Hopefully
people
not.
than hopefully not. But I would say more people than not, when it does hit them, it's a very big like wake up call.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, like I'm not gonna live forever.
And it also, I think it makes whatever seemed most important seem way less important.
You don't care
all
about
of a sudden.
it. Yeah. So that was one of those things, right? Where, excuse me, I tried to kind of push away cross country and like becoming the person I wanted to be as a collegiate athlete. Like, I wanted to be, it seems cocky saying it, but like I wanted to be the captain of the team, right? Like I
Sure.
wanted these certain accolades that, in my eyes, they were like the prized possessions. Like that was the gold for me, right? Like I
Yeah.
didn't care if I win or lost. I wanted to be the guy leading the team. I wanted to be the guy helping pick somebody up when they're down. Like that's who I wanted to be. But when I got hit with that news, I didn't care about any of that anymore.
Yeah.
Like all I thought about for the next probably 2-3 months was like all of the memories, all of the bonds, like these little moments in time that you form with people that you now know you're never going to be able to reflect on with them because they're not
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So that was something that I had to internalize and kind of get through on my own. Not to say that I didn't have people close to me that were willing to help and support me through that. It was more so just a decision to get through it on my own. I
That
felt
was
like
how
I
you did
needed
that
to.
then. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And my parents were freaking phenomenal about helping me get through that. They were all, you need an ear to listen to you talk about whatever. And it's like, at one point I did step back and realize like they're going through the same loss that I'm currently going through, maybe just not at the same capacity,
Yeah.
because they still did lose, they lost a nephew.
Yeah.
And it's like, that can't be an easy thing.
No, that's really incredible. They were able to do that. Even if you didn't use it, that they were able to do that. Because I feel like a lot of parents probably can't.
Yeah.
Don't have that capacity.
Yeah. They either don't know how to be there emotionally, or maybe they just don't care, which is very sad, but it is true in some circumstances.
Sure.
I say this all the time, but I was very, very fortunate with the parents that I was given.
Yeah.
So, I cannot scream enough praise for the two of them and all that they have done for me to get to this point in my life. But no, so like on top of navigating those handful of things, it was a very crazy, hectic year. A lot of physical changes, emotional changes, things that I was just handling on my own that now I realized, oh, this requires more than just me. All of that happened. And then I also shortly after that, I had one of my closest friends pass away too. So now it was like, in my mind, I was thinking that this was just a domino effect, right? Like, oh man, like all these people, I didn't talk to him since I graduated high school.
Though, to have that happen like so close
back
together.
to back, right? And that's what it had felt like for me. And then, not to get too deep into this rabbit hole of like people passing, but then my grandfather passed shortly after he passed. And I'm smiling and laughing now. It's because I'm coping instead of crying.
Sure.
I'm smiling and laughing with you. But it was just like a domino effect of all these significant, I don't know how you want to call it, but like statues in my life just passing. Like me having to come to the realization of I'm never going to be able to share a moment with these individuals again was very difficult. And I'm very thankful that I had those people in my life to help get me through that, very, very rough chapter.
Yeah.
So I would say, both mentally and physically, actually, that was probably the hardest. I guess that's not one thing. Like if you're looking for an answer of like, oh, bench press PR, hardest thing I've done.
That would be, that would not have been as good of an answer.
Yeah. But no, I think navigating, honestly, just the entirety of that year was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
So like basically figuring out how do you deal with loss, right?
Yeah. How to deal with loss along with like
everything else,
figuring out who I am as an individual.
Yeah.
Because up to that point of living on your own, like at least for me, because I was blessed with parents that guided me along my
How old were you then?
years. Oh, I would have been 18 going 19.
If you could go back in time and have a conversation with, 18-year-old Derek, what would you have told him?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to be, it's okay to be emotional. I think there's this huge misconception nowadays with like men have to be rocks, which I do agree to an extent. Like a man should be a rock. He should be somebody that, his significant other or his family can come to and rely on without knowing that they're going to break or fold. But learning that it's okay to be emotional, it's almost needed. It's like if I were to just be some emotionless wall to my significant other, like how would that feel? Like if they were doing that to me, how would I feel in that moment? So trying to learn that like it's okay to open up about how you're feeling about certain things, and that's something that my girlfriend and I, we communicate very well together now. And it's like, it's just such a funny thing to think about because it's like, okay, if I'm going back to 18-year-old me who thought everything that he did was the correct way to do it. And it's like, all right, like dude, if the relationship he had was anywhere close to the relationship I have now, like, oh my goodness, like that's two completely different worlds.
Yeah.
Because the relationship I had at 18 was like, you don't know how to talk to anybody, you're not emotionally available, you're just a brick wall. Then it's like now it's like, you know,
Yeah, I mean, you can't really blame yourself though, because so much of what like you probably thought as a kid growing up, like as silly of an example as it is, like you look at cartoon superheroes,
yeah,
they don't cry, right?
never. Yeah,
They're not sad. They're, if anything, every emotion like kind of transmutes into anger because that's like a stronger masculine. I'm saying this in quotes if you're
yeah,
listening. Stronger, more masculine emotion. I think that's kind of a mistake. It's definitely an oversimplification. And I definitely feel like when I was a younger man, um, I should just say young man at this point. When I was a young man, I definitely felt that. Like I thought that the correct response to most things that upset me was just anger because it felt in a way comforting or strong,
natural.
maybe.
Yeah,
But yeah, definitely there's just like, I don't know, I was emotionally inarticulate and trying to learn to be better than that has definitely made a huge difference for me. I do think I get what people say and like even like the sentiment that as a man you should be strong and you should be able to be like the anchor for your people. I believe that and I agree with that, but I don't know if I agree with everybody as to what that looks like. Like
yeah.
Christine's seen me cry probably more than anybody else that I know, and I don't think that she thinks any less of me.
Mhm.
And that, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love her the way that I do is that I don't think in like my worst, what I deem to be my worst moments, my weakest moments, I don't think she judges me negatively, or she admires me any less. But it has kind of taken me having someone like her to actually feel okay being that way. But I also do think that I wish more young guys knew or had some exposure to that idea that it's fine.
It's a
Like,
two-sided coin.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. If you I understand there's probably a time and place to maybe stuff it all down and to deal with it later, but that can't be the only tool you have.
yeah.
Shouldn't be anyway. Um, I guess in whatever you learned from that experience, so is there anything that you could tell young Derek or anybody else who is having a hard time dealing? How would you encourage them to find their way through that?
Mm. Surround yourself with people that you think and know are going to help you be the best you.
Yeah,
I know that's a lot easier said than done. Trustworthy people and reliable people are far and few in between nowadays.
yeah,
But I genuinely think that the support system that I had while going through that gave me the ability to overcome it and be a better man after.
yeah,
But for somebody that might not have, the ability to have a support group like that, um, I think the best thing you can do is just wait. It's just time. And I know that's so cliche to say, but like time does heal all.
sure,
It truly does. And it's just one of those things where if you don't have that support system and you're just waiting it out and you're just dwindling and sitting in your own thoughts
yeah,
day after day, like find a physically demanding hobby immediately. That's the one thing I would recommend. I can't give enough praise to how much of an outlet running was for me.
yeah,
It's insane how much calmer you'll approach a situation after a 40-minute run.
yeah,
Even a 30-minute run, 30
yeah.
minutes of your day. If somebody can spare 30 minutes of a day to go on a run, I guarantee you will feel better mentally after that, no matter what hardships you're going through.
Yeah.
And if you weren't to do that, again, you're just going to sit on your own thoughts. They're going to build, emotions are going to build, and then eventually you're going to reach a breaking point.
I think some of the reason that the physical outlet makes a big difference for most people is that it's a good reminder that whatever you feel right now doesn't last forever. So
Mhm.
like in that 30-minute run, let's say you're doing like a 10K at,
In 30
the
minutes?
sixth, seventh, no, not in 30 minutes. Not anybody that I know,
Yeah,
but just
I
say
know a
you're
few.
you're you're doing a 10K and you are at the sixth or seventh kilometer, might be feeling you might be deep in the pain cave.
Right.
But to finish, you kind of just have to remind yourself that that's fine. That's just a part of it.
Yeah.
Just, hang on for another 3 kilometers. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true. Like when you're going through a hard time, I think it's hard when you're young though. If
Yeah,
that's the
because
first one,
yeah,
you don't know that
you
yet.
don't know.
You could understand that to be true, but you just don't have that experience yet.
And you have everybody telling you that that's, like, "Oh, this is how it is."
Yeah.
In your mind, you're like, "Oh, you don't know."
Yeah, exactly. Right? Um, but I think the other point you made, I do think is really sound advice is I would maybe word it slightly differently, but just finding people that you admire,
Mhm.
people who you would like to be more like as you continue to develop your life, and leaning on those people specifically for advice or support, however you
Right.
can. I think a lot of young people, men especially, I don't know if that's true, but a lot of young people, they have a hard time asking for help when they need it because they don't want to seem like they aren't capable. But
Mhm.
they're so eager to prove to the world around them they're capable. I think it's a mistake. Like I've asked for more help in the past 5 years than I did in the previous 10.
Yeah.
And I am so much better off because of it. I don't think it makes me more capable. If anything, it makes me sorry, I don't think it makes me any less capable. I think if anything, it makes me much more capable, like knowing that I can lean on, you know, the dozen people closest to me for the sort of help that I may be able to provide.
Mhm.
I know everybody has one or a few. What would you say is your deepest regrets?
Everyone, huh? Um,
Everybody has to have one, right? At least one.
yeah, maybe. If I approach this with, like, more of a, methodical answer, I guess I could say something like, you know, to the people that I no longer have in my life due to, passing, like, maybe one of my biggest regrets is not spending enough time with them.
Yeah.
Um, that seems like a very cliche standard answer to
It's a good
give,
reminder
but,
though.
very much so. Like, you only have people in your life for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
just
never really know how
natural
long.
course of events. Yeah, exactly. God forbid, but, like, I could drop dead tomorrow,
I hope you
and
don't.
it's yeah, I appreciate that, but, like, the possibility that it could happen is there. It's a very
Yeah.
small percentage chance, but
Yeah.
the possibility does remain. Um, but outside of that, like, I genuinely don't know if I have any other real regrets because I know that every decision I've made, again, another cliche
You end up
standard
here,
answer,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And as of right now, like, I could not be happier with how my life has panned out.
I love that.
I love every minute of it.
Yeah.
Waking up is a blessing, even if it's at 4 in the morning and it's, like, you got legs at
Yeah.
4 in the morning. No, but, like, to me, that's still a blessing.
Yeah, like how lucky are you that that's the thing that
Exactly.
you get to dread?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very, very fortunate to be on this side of it. But yeah, no, I genuinely do believe that every decision I've made, even as small as, like, turning left into your neighborhood instead of turning right at the next stop sign, like, stuff like that. Like, I think that every decision that I have made throughout the course of my life has led me to this exact moment.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with the exact moment that I'm sitting in. So
Yeah. Do you do you think that every choice matters that much?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And the only reason I say that is because this was actually fairly recent. And that exact example was true for me. So typically, when I'm going to a certain destination out of my neighborhood, out of my old home, I turn either left or right out of our court, right? Depending on where I'm going, typically determines which way I turn, right? So sometimes I'll turn right even though I should have turned left, and I'll just go the long way around because
Mhm.
in my mind I think it's faster because there's less stop and go.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if I turn left, I have to go through the entirety of the neighborhood. Who
Yeah.
wants to do that, right? I turn right, I'm on a main road within 10 seconds.
Mhm.
So one day I turned right, and I ended up getting in a car accident at a stoplight that I would have never been at had I turned left out of my neighborhood,
Yeah.
right? And that car accident turns into a whole snowball of things. You know how that goes. You open a claim, deal with the insurance adjusters, you go to the place, you get it repaired. Whole laundry list of tasks that have to do, right? Had I turned left, I might not have had to do that,
Yeah.
right? Like that whole ordeal wouldn't have occurred. It wouldn't have mattered. I would have got to where I needed to go. Who knows who I would have met or what would have happened when I got to where I needed to go. It's like the day I met you at the gym, right? Had I gotten the car accident that day, would that have taken meeting you away from you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
would that have impacted my life to the degree where, okay, like maybe I wouldn't have went to the gym that day and I no longer would have met you, or I no longer would have met Taj, right?
Yeah.
Or my decision to remove myself from running. Because of that, I met my current partner who could not be more happy with, right?
Yeah.
So things like that. Like if I continued to run, I can guarantee you I would have never met her.
Yeah.
So my life would have been vastly different. And like continuing to run is such a small decision when you zoom out and you look at the bigger
And the
picture
context
of
of your whole
life.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Such a minute decision. But it was something that a decision that I made that I am very happy with the outcome of. So
every choice does really matter then.
I genuinely do believe that. Outside of like, oh, does it matter if I put my hands like this or this? Like that, I don't think matters too much.
One of those results in 1 million views. The other one results in negative.
Yeah,
10.
and I'm sure someone online will tell me how this is like, I don't know, incorrect way to.
According to science.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. But, you know, I do think that minute details matter in the bigger picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long answer, but.
That's a good answer. Do you have anything that you have been wanting to ask me that you haven't had a chance to because I don't text you back that often?
For good reason. You're a very busy man, and I'm a very average Joe.
Okay, well, podcast aside, I probably leave this in anyway, but like, like if you need me something, just call me.
Yeah.
I'm really good at that.
Yeah.
The texting thing, it's tough because it fragments my attention for whatever I'm doing at the moment enough that I only text people. Like I text everybody back at the same time.
Yeah.
Probably like 3 or 4 times in a day. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the phone gets.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's like SOL, I guess.
And there are very, very few people in my life that I will drop everything I'm doing to pick up and look at a text message from.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that's the way you operate. You are one of the few people on that list. So it's just funny the way things work like that, though, right?
Dude,
like
my mom even, she gets mad at me sometimes. She's like, you never text me back. I was like, yeah, but you can call me whenever you want.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's all good. I 100% get it. I do the same exact thing. I'm horrible about getting back to people when it comes to text messages. Because I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, well, like, if I see their name, I peek over for a second, like, I'll read, like, the first couple of words of the message, and then I'll tell myself, like, oh, like, let me not distract myself from what I'm currently doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to reply to them in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's been 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sending him dude, so sorry. You know, no, I totally get it. What was the question again? Sorry.
Whether there's anything that you've wanted to ask me and I haven't made myself available to answer yet.
What was it like transitioning from, well, I know you're still like very heavily into lifting, but how do you feel the worlds differ when it comes to running versus lifting? I'm just curious to see because I was once, very...
Yeah, it's like opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I was kind of thinking the same thing, like how different it is for you. I feel like it's kind of the same, just the other way around. Like a lot of the things I learned from and still value from lifting, whether that's in a bodybuilding or strength context, they help just as much in the context of endurance. The biggest difference is just like the intensity and duration, as in, okay, like a really hard set of deadlifts, it's very, I would say painful, but for like seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas a long race is moderately uncomfortable by comparison, but for a really long time.
Right.
I often though think it's useful to have both experiences because I often think when I'm running nowadays, if it sucks, I think to myself, well, this isn't as bad as that last really hard squat session was.
Right.
And then when I'm squatting, it's like, well, this isn't as bad as like that last tempo run.
Over.
Yeah. So I think having both experiences is helpful, but so there's a handful of things that I struggle with. Like I think some of it is that I'm so new to the endurance stuff that I might understand in principle what it takes to get from point A to point B, but my body can only adapt so fast, and so fast is actually quite slow because I'm trying to get stronger and get faster.
Yeah, very hard. And
doing both at the same time, it's like you're just going to do both very slowly. So there's part of it that's like it's almost inherently frustrating having to go slow, but that's also part of the reason why I'm doing it. The other thing that's interesting is the nature of injury.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I've dealt with, even in the short, couple of years I've been chasing down endurance, it's like overuse, right?
Yeah.
And those things are all, like you were saying earlier, it's like you notice them, but you're like, oh, this is probably nothing.
It's fine.
Until it's eventually so bad that it just sidelines you, right?
Yeah.
And I had a few of those, but it's so tricky because compared to like when you're lifting and you injure yourself, it's not always catastrophic, but it's usually enough that you know pretty immediately, oh, I did something bad, should
Right.
back off now. So it's really easy for me to tell when I'm lifting if I've done something that's gone overboard. But in the endurance space, it's like they're sneaking up on me.
Yeah. And then you can always like try and convince yourself too, like, oh, like, well, yeah, I know it's an ache, but it's because the muscle's tight. Like once I warm up, once I'm a
Yeah,
mile into my run, I won't feel it anymore.
that's the thing is
Which
like
is
a
true.
few miles in, you don't feel it.
Yeah. But then, you know, you sit down for dinner later and you eat your dinner and you get up and you're like,
Limping.
whoa, yeah. What is this new pain?
Yeah.
No, I think there's a lot of merit to what you just said. Like there are a lot of nags and aches when
Yeah.
it comes to running. Whereas with lifting, it's like, man, when I do this one very specific motion, this one pinpoint hurts like incredibly bad.
Yeah.
Whereas, and like you can't really work through it, you know? Whereas with running, it's like, yeah, no, like when I dorsiflex, you know, my Achilles crunches when I pinch it, but that's fine. It's like, it's just something you do. Like, it's not immobilizing. So you
Yeah.
just deal with it.
I think another thing that's interesting, an interesting difference for me, but it's not a difference between endurance and strength or whatever. It's more a difference of having done a bunch of something and then being a novice. I don't find myself putting as much pressure, putting as much undue pressure on myself for like a certain level of performance and
Yeah.
endurance. Because again, like let's say like the marathon thing. I don't ever expect to win a marathon. Like even I was looking at qualifying times for Boston recently.
Yeah.
As a male open, you'd have to be like 250 something.
Yeah. And what is that per mile just for
Oh
people
God,
that
I
might
don't
not
even
be
know,
invested
like
in that world?
6 something.
Okay.
It's crazy, but like you'd have to be, you know, amongst the I don't know what that is. Maybe the top. I'm not gonna make up a number, but you'd have to be really, really, really talented to get there.
Yeah.
So most people, even if they're really into the sport, they're never gonna run in Boston. If you're a man, you're just probably not gonna do it.
Right.
Um, and to me, that's almost freeing knowing that that bar has been set so astronomically high that I have, you know, my own standard of like what I've been able to do so far, and that is whatever it is. If I can be a little bit better than that the next time, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
There's no part of me that thinks to myself, "Oh, I'm supposed to win." But whereas back in the day when I was competing in powerlifting and bodybuilding, I was thinking to myself pretty frequently, like, "Oh, this is only good if I win."
Right.
I'd enjoy it either way. Sure, like I wouldn't be that upset, but it would bug me to in bodybuilding, especially. Like I had a decently long win streak. I won 9 shows in a row as a teen and junior competitor. So if I had ever lost, that would have bothered me a lot in like an age group.
Yeah.
That would have bothered me a lot. But like it was very different competing in open. Like I never expected to win open. I only won the one time I won my card, but it was just a different experience. Like there's no pressure then, you know, like you almost expect to lose. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
fine either way. But that's been a very different experience. And I definitely welcome that now because I think it makes it easier to enjoy.
Yeah.
Maybe for you, the same thing in bodybuilding, right?
Yeah, no, and the reason why I'm smiling so big is because it literally is like I know what you're saying about how you're feeling and you're
Yeah.
approaching endurance sports. I know exactly how you feel because that is what I am doing, just in reverse,
Yeah.
you know? Like coming from running background, going into bodybuilding, that's how I'm approaching
Dude, it's
it.
a shame that you're like permanently injured though, because it would have been a lot of fun for you to be doing all of it together.
Yeah, I
To
think so
be
too.
to be another one of us idiots trying to do all of it.
When I get my when they figure something out for hip replacements that doesn't involve chopping my femur in half, I'll get back on the saddle with you. But until then, you know, I don't want to have to get 4 hip replacements in one lifetime.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
No, not at all. But yeah, no, it's funny to think about, right? Because it's like you come from one world where every single like fraction of an inch mattered to you, and then now you're kind of just like, yeah, like this is cool.
Yeah.
Like,
It is tough. Like I found it tough to balance that because like when I finished, I ran the SF half recently, and I ran it like I was quite sick, and like a tiny bit injured, and I performed worse than I wanted to, of course. And I found it really hard in the moments after finishing, and even during, like not being disappointed with that.
yeah,
But it's like reasonably, I shouldn't be unhappy because like it was a really cool experience for one. A lot of the people that came with me to like support me in that it was really nice to have them there to share that. And it was just like a special thing. But it's really hard for me to switch it off sometimes, like
Yeah,
to not
yeah.
be that way.
That competitive nature.
Yeah.
That's just a natural thing, though. You know, it's
Yeah, I guess so.
like I'd be lying if I told you that like I don't want to place at my first show. Like, of course I want to. It's an
Yeah.
ambition. But if I don't, like, I'm not gonna be upset. Like, I'm not gonna be sad. I'm just like, okay, it was a fun experience, you know. As long as
Well,
I had fun,
I think it's also different, like knowing how you're going about things. If you do as well as you think you could have, and you take last, I think you'd almost feel okay with that.
yeah.
It's different if even if you like placed third, but you know that you fucked up part of like your taper week.
Yeah.
That's not gonna feel good.
No. Yeah.
So I think it's really just a matter of like the perceived completeness of your effort on the way in
Right.
that'll determine how satisfied you are. And actually, maybe that's a good point. I'm discovering this now in this conversation. That's probably why I was bothered by that recent race, is that I felt like I couldn't have given it everything
Yeah.
because the
Because of
conditions
your
were what they
right.
were. And more than anything that morning, I was like, what if I just wasn't sick? That would be great.
Yeah. No, it totally would have, you know?
Like I didn't even want it to be like easy. I didn't want it to be like I would have been fine still being like somewhat injured and just not sick. I would have loved that. That would have been good. But I'm sure there will be a day.
Yeah. Yeah. There will. You'll get your time.
Do you have any advice, say selfishly, specifically for me, as I get deeper into the running stuff?
Yeah. Fake it till you make it. I know that sounds like super, super dumb and like rinsed.
Yeah.
But there are two pieces of advice I'll give you. That was one of them that my college cross country coach told me, and it stuck with me.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through it and you're deep in that pain cave, I'm talking like you're trying to just suck air back into your lungs because of how, out of breath you are. You're not tired.
Yeah.
So can you take one more step? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
All right, then take another. You just took one. You've
another.
proven that you could do it.
3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're halfway through your race. Okay, so you know that you can do what it takes to finish the race because you literally just did it.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of trick your mind into thinking these things. If you trick it enough, you'll start to believe it fully.
Yeah.
And I can 100% say I got to that point during my last year of running competitively. I got to the point of like, my heart rate's 180, but like,
that's fine.
I could run another mile right now if I needed to, So yeah, fake it till you make it. And this one's a little bit longer, but you know that you're in the best shape that you've been in if you're either almost injured or almost sick. So if this is the edge, right, you want to get as close to possible without falling over it.
Yeah.
And usually that means like you're going to wake up most days feeling like you got hit by a car. At least that's how I used to feel when I was running. Probably because my nutrition wasn't very valued at the time.
Yeah.
But getting to this point, getting to this edge, right, requires you filling a bucket, right? So the bucket is full of water. Every excuse that you have, like, oh, I woke up this morning and, my foot literally wasn't attached to my body anymore. That is still an excuse. It's a very valid excuse, but it is an excuse.
Yeah.
And what that excuse does is it pokes a hole in that bucket of water that you're trying to fill. So that water's leaking out, right?
Yeah.
That excuse does the same amount of damage as I just got food poisoning. I have like, a little bit of an upset tummy on my training day now.
Got a tummy ache.
Right. Something that you can push through. It won't be pretty, but you can push through that. You can run through that. Your foot being cut off, you can't run through in the immediate, right?
Yeah.
Pooping yourself a little, you can run through that. You can deal with it, But the holes that are poked in that bucket are the same exact size. They do the same amount of damage, regardless of the excuse, how valid it was or not, right? So you're trying to minimize the amount of those, invalid excuses as you can.
Yeah.
So days where it does suck, like, it sucks, but when you finish, you're done.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more water in that bucket to get it to the top. So I think that's a huge piece of advice, like knowing when your excuse holds merit and when it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because as an individual, and again, like I don't know how far, like how deep you are into it in terms of like having a coach or anything. But if you're trying to self-coach, it is very easy to validate invalid excuses. So, something like, oh, my stomach is kind of on the fritz. I don't know if I'm going to be able to run, I have a tempo run today. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to run the same times and meet the same marks that I was going to because now I'm malnourished, right? It's very easy to manipulate your brain into, convincing yourself that you think that is a valid excuse.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was in college, what we would do, it's like, okay, you have something like that and you don't think you're going to be able to hit these times, right? Adjust the times, do it to within your capacity. So you're still getting the workout in, you're still getting the leg turnover in that you need to get.
Yeah.
Or go for easy run, right? Just go run 3 or 4 miles. You're still filling that bucket, a little less than you would have initially, but you're still filling it without poking a hole in it, right?
Yeah.
And then do some strides after for the leg turnover, right? Yeah. So there are certain ways you can manipulate your running to where you're still adding to that. Whereas lifting, it's a lot different,
Yeah.
to some degree. But yeah, like running is very easy to convince yourself that you shouldn't, So it's just as easy to convince yourself to do it. You just have to.
I think that it's very true for you, probably for me as well. But a lot of people that I coach, it's like it's just as hard for them no matter what the thing is. It could be running, it could be swimming, it could be lifting.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get them there. But I think that strategy works in any case.
Yeah, always.
It's almost like deluding yourself into confidence.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
That's exactly what I did. My first 2 years of college, I was awful. I was horrible. I was getting last place at races, dude. Seriously, the high school women were running the times that I was running. And that's not a knock on high school women. They run incredibly fast times nowadays. You have to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I just wasn't, and I was getting last place in these races and I was getting almost booed off the track essentially.
Yeah.
It's when you're coming in and you're finishing your race and everybody is clapping for you. In college, that's known as being a clapper. You never want to be a clapper. That means you were dead last and by a significant margin.
Okay.
It was enough for everybody in the stands to feel bad and start clapping for you, right? I was a clapper a couple times.
Oh man.
My first couple years. And again, that was with navigating everything. But
yeah.
Still, you got to know when it's worth it to actually take that day off, when it's validated and then when it's not. And a lot of people do have a very hard time knowing where that line is. It gets blurred, but
yeah. Sage wisdom.
Yep.
From Dokter. So you don't have stuff online, so people can't really find you, but
I have an Instagram. It's just, I don't really open it all that often.
If you want to, you can plug it, but if not, it doesn't makes no difference here.
It's my first and last name, so it shouldn't be too hard. Not too many of me.
Dokter, spelled Dokter.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for
spending
having me.
all this time and being patient when I screwed up the first recording.
It's all part of the journey, man.
But yeah, if you can make time postseason, so if it's after Worlds, it'll be probably not until December. Honestly, it doesn't matter when we record, but I'd love to hear, or I'd love to kind of come back and sit down and figure out how you did.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cool.
And I'll make sure I'm at the Mayhem at least. I'm there every year either way.
Yeah.
If I'm not there, it'll just be because I'm avoiding you.
Yeah, naturally. Just as a reminder to everybody here, my only drive to actually go and win the show is the fact that you said you were going to come and hand me all the awards. You said that you would beg to do that.
I can ask Bob about that. If Derek wins, so that is if Derek wins,
he's going to say, who?
Can I be the trophy girl?
Yeah. Who's that?
I'm sure he'd be fine with it.